Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features X-Force number 20, cover dated March 1993. The cover is by Greg Capullo, inked by Candelario, and it features mostly the male members of X-Force, now with the additions of Sunspot and Richter, everybody in their new costumes from the previous issue. Also Feral is there too. And it's the male members and Feral up against Nick Fury and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they're in their spacesuits. So that gives a clue as to the location of this particular battle. So a pretty dynamic cover. I really like the way that Greg Capullo has drawn Cannonball here. I like the foreshortening on his arm as well. It's really, really well done. And I like the little detail of the cat's eye pupil there on Feral as well. Let's open this one up to the first page. So the story starts in space, and we have a European Space Agency shuttle here that has just positioned a communication satellite, and the transmission procedures are starting. If this works, says their contact on Earth, we've all just entered a new age in communications technology, but there's a problem. Because these pipes here on the side, or aerials or whatever they are on the side of the satellite, bump up against something, and then the satellite collides with whatever that thing is and it breaks up. So on Earth, the communications team says we're still spitting out a tremendous amount of juice and we're reading a huge electromagnetic flux. What is going on up there? So what we're looking at here is the silhouetted reverse of the space shuttle, and something's about to manifest on the coming double page spread. Just a little point about one of the art techniques here. I really like the white paint splatter here for the stars in the background, but that is a technique where you would have to cover up the other artwork in the panel in order to do that splatter on the black background there, maybe with a toothbrush or something of that nature. So let's turn the page. This is a really cool double page spread coming up. Well, there you go. So there has been a mystery in X-Force regarding Cable's base, Graymalkin. In the Executioner's song, we learned that it was in space, like in outer space, orbiting the Earth, cloaked. And here we see it decloaked for the very first time. And it is an immense structure indeed. Really, really jaw-dropping, and really great job done on it by Greg Capullo in the art. So the title of this story is Assault on Graymalkin, and that's interesting because they are in the current era, 2024, in the From the Ashes era of the relaunched X titles. They're going to have a crossover between the main titles that features Cable, and that apparently is the title of the event is Assault on Graymalkin, or some variation on that. So it seems to be like a little callback to this particular era and the big reveal of Graymalkin. And also we're going to learn a little bit more about the identity of the Professor, who is what Cable addresses when he is present on Graymalkin. So the creative team here is Fabian Nicieza, writer, Greg Capullo, penciler, Candelario, inker, Chris Eliopoulos, letterer, and Steve Buccellato on colors. And let's get into the story. So the scene switches to Washington, D.C., the office of Henry Peter Gyrick, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and he is having an interview with Val Cooper, who is the X Factor's liaison with the US government. And he's filling her in on the discovery of Graymalkin. We just got this from Intelsat, intelligence satellite, who got it from the European Space Agency's shuttle transmissions. It appears a communication satellite experiment went awry and caused this previously cloaked space station to reveal itself. We have to find out who, what, and how fast. So there would have been two orbiting space stations in Earth, orbiting Earth in 1991. There would have been Cable's Graymalkin and Magneto's Asteroid M, and just as well neither of them collided, eh? So Val is asking, well, why call me in? This is a little out of X Factor's purview, isn't it? So Gyrick says 3 words, we suspect Cable. And Val retorts 1 word, Shield. So she passes the job to Shield. X Factor aren't going to get involved. We get this great panel here of a massive fist slamming down on Fury's desk as Fury's looking up with incredulously smoking on his stogie. Thought you quit on us, GW. So it's GW Bridge who is going to get the call, or who has gotten the call from Nick Fury's office, 9:30. Right. I like that little scene here, giving us a sense of the wider political world or backdrop to the X titles in this time period. So let's see what happens here with this tense interview between GW Bridge and Fury. I want to comment on the art. First of all, I really like the pose that Capullo has done on GW Bridge. You can really see him just leaning on Fury's work desk there. And I like the body language from Fury as he's exhaling that smoke right into GW Bridge's face. So what's the nature of their talk here? Well, actually, it's Bridge who says, says to Nick Fury, you all quit on me, but if that metallic Rhode Island floating up there does involve Cable, then you know I should be involved as well. So GW Bridge quit, but he's back because he has his old beef with Cable, and Fury agrees. He says, that I do. GW, that I do. So he agrees that Bridge should be involved, but they're going to cut a deal. Fury's going to negotiate here. He says, fine, Commander Bridge, you're temporarily reinstated for duty, but what does S.H.I.E.L.D. get in return? And Bridge asks, well, what do you want? And now it's Fury's turn to slam his fist on the table. Or rather, what happens here is, is there a little scene switch, I wonder? Or does time pass? Yeah, time passes. So it must be that Fury gets James Rhodes online for a call, and now he's slamming his fist on the table saying, blast it, Rhodes, you have to let S.H.I.E.L.D. Get involved. It's the law. So what does Rhodey have to say to that? He says, is it really, Fury? I didn't know S.H.I.E.L.D.'s jurisdiction strayed beyond the Van Allen belt. That's pretty good. I like that that little joke. Into the Woody Allen belt, if I say so, counters Fury. That's good stuff. And Rhodey has something like a kind of like a, what would we say, like he's got an ace up his sleeve, a legal ace up his sleeve. Not according to my lawyers, he says. Stark Property encountered an IFO, an identified flying object in orbit, which means salvage claim rights belong to Stark. Your boys can't do anything without my permission. So it was a Stark Enterprises operation on page 1. And now Rhodey's here saying that basically they have the salvage rights to Graymalkin. So Fury says, if you clear a S.H.I.E.L.D. inspection unit, what will you want in return? So Rhodey's got the upper hand there. That's a nice little scene as well. Fabian Nicieza are very good with this political type stuff in the background to what's going on with X-Force. Our young mutant characters, and we pick up with them now in their current yet temporary base, the desolate remains of the Camp Verde Apache Reservation in Arizona. And this is in the afternoon. For 7 weeks, with a slight interruption due to their temporary detainment, that was in the X-Mansion during Executioner's Song, the Renegade X-Force unit has used this ghost town as a safe hiding place from their outlaw status. Now they're working to call Camp Verde home. So here they are working on all this different equipment here, and a nice use of a screen tone here by Harry Candelario in the inks. It's an effective use of it, and I like the banter amongst the various team members of X-Force, including the fact that Greg Capullo is having some fun with Feral on his run so far. So he has her grooming herself like a cat there in the background. We get more of a close-up there, and we still have that kind of flirtation between her, well, a one-way flirtation between her and Shatterstar as well. So Sunspot, his strength has been amplified by the experimentation he underwent by Gideon's science team. So he's well able now to hold up this hunk of equipment as Richter and Cannonball work on it. Lila's now part of the team as well. And what happens here is, yeah, I like this little bit of humorous dialogue between Feral and Shatterstar. She says, first of all, to Sunspot, "Hey DaCosta, would you rather hear Boomer keep complaining about having no TV to watch if they don't fix this piece of equipment? Pretty boy DaCosta can't take sweating a little. He's a Phoebe. What do you think about him, Shaddy Buns?" And Shatterstar's answer as he trains away there independently is, "I think my name is Shatterstar, and if you continue to distract me while I work out, Feral, I will cut off your tail." So Sunspot says, "The cat has a point, doesn't she? By all means, my friends, take your time working on this piece of equipment here." So Cannonball, team leader now in the absence of Cable, Cable's presumed dead by them, says Terry and Jimmy are much better at this stuff than we are, but they went into town with Boomer to get more supplies. So that's where Boom Boom, Siren and Warpath are. And he continues and says, "So you'll just have to be patient. It ain't like it's even Japanese technology we're talking about here. Lila got this comm array from a black market dealer, an Alpha Centauri." And who is it then? Richter says, "Why are we even bothering then?" And Shatterstar walks over to them in the midst of all of this. He grabs this gadget from Cannonball, starts using it effectively. Everybody's taken by surprise. Juice it up and tune it in," says Shatterstar. "You'll be ready to download in about 15 seconds. So everybody's surprised here. We're going to get a question about this. Cannonball asks, "Shaddy, why didn't you ever tell us you understood this machinery so well?" And he just turns around and says simply, "Because you never asked." But this is what's going on in the background here, of course, is Fabian Nicieza has his hands on the Shatterstar character now that Rob Liefeld is gone, and he is developing the character, making him a little bit deeper than a battle crazy, ferocious warrior type, giving him layers of personality and history that are surprising the team members but also the readers, and it's really well done. So now the piece of equipment is working, and Lila says, "I don't think you'll much like what we picked up." And Richter asks, "Well, what is it, Lila?" And a little joke here again from Fabian Nicieza: "Men who wear their mother's clothing underwater." Next on Geraldo. "Don't be a transphobe, Richter. It's 2024, eh?" And what does it turn out to be? Well, it turns out to be, turn the page, they're looking at Graymalkin. So, hard copy story, it is 1993, has obtained only hours ago an exclusive videotape from the European Space Agency's satellite signals. You are seeing visual documentation of an actual space station orbiting Earth. Its markings and technology indicate this metal behemoth is alien in nature, though what its presence means is rife with speculation at this point. And of course, Cannonball puts it together in terms of what it is. Lila, you thinking what I'm thinking? Graymalkin, that's got to be Cable's orbital station. So, "Sam, you're still hurting from his death. Don't be hasty, this could be anything," says Lila. But no, everybody's going to go into action now. And it could be something. "Suit up, people," says Sam. "Lila, I want us teleported up there in 10 minutes. Gang, if this is Cable's base, I want us there fast." So, interesting stuff. Like, he's making a snap decision here, not waiting for the other three members of the team to get back in from town, not waiting for Boom Boom, Siren or Warpath. Is that a wise decision? This is a nice anchor image of everybody running here in their civilian clothes. Really great stuff by Capullo. Let's turn the page, and here we see them suited up in an even more dramatic anchor image. And it's those new costumes again. So the electromagnetic temporal personnel Displacement center named Graymalkin. Interesting designation of what the orbital ship is there in that description in the narrative caption. So Lila, it's convenient now, excuse me, since Cable's gone from the team and his body slide technology gone with him, that X-Force gets themselves another teleporter in the shape of Lila Cheney. And so she brings them via her powers up to Graymalkin, and now they begin exploring the craft. We move out tight, says Cannonball, back to back in a double three. No one, and I mean no one, breaks formation. So Cannonball really learned from Cable the art and style of being a general in the field. And he's doing, or a commander in the field, maybe is a better way of putting it, and he's doing a good job here in this regard. This looks like the place Wolverine and Bishop described. So there was information sharing then in the course of the wrap-up to Executioner's Song, and that's also a reason why Cannonball was able, or conjectured, and in this case correctly, what this big orbital station was. But we're going to scout the surroundings until we find a comm link to give us some schematics on this place. And this is interesting. The craft itself recognizes Cannonball's voice and welcomes him. Welcome to Graymalkin, Samuel Guthrie. And this is really, really interesting. Sam's immediate response is to exclaim, "Ship, is that you? Ship?" And Graymalkin responds, "My title designation is Professor. I hope I may be of some assistance." So this is a little mystery that has been seeded in previous issues of X-Force, that the portion of ship that went with Cable into the future in X-Factor number 68 may be part of this sentient orbital station of Cable's. But the scene switches, as it did in the previous issue, to Massachusetts, Norwell, Massachusetts, and somebody called Vanessa Geraldine Carlisle, who's a shapeshifter and who's going through some bad times. And that's a little mystery that will yield fruit in upcoming issues. But I really like this detail here in the establishing shot. So this is real kind of like 17th, 18th century style architecture here, and very much of the Massachusetts style of architecture. So Capullo doing good work here in terms of researching the type of building he should be drawing, and doing it also in autumn as well, conveying the autumn time period too. So that's very nicely done. And then the scene switches to, of all places, the Australian outback. So that's very unexpected. And we have somebody arriving in a trench coat and a hat. So of course, X-Force readers will be wondering, is this Mr. Tolliver? Well, it turns out not to be, but rather it is Domino. And she has come to this out of the way pub in the outback, and who she found there except for Grizzly, who went missing from Weapon Prime. "I just want out of all of this, Domino," he says. "That's why I just slinked out of sight when Weapon Prime went down." And Domino says to him, "Staying out of things isn't one of the choices we get, Grizzly. Never has been, never will be. Where do we go from here?" He says to her as she slams down that shot of whatever it might have been, whiskey or something else. And yeah, so we haven't seen Domino since X-Force 15. And she has, it would appear, taken the trench coat and hat of Tolliver and is now creating her own little team. But for what purpose? So, of course, readers will have to stay picking up the title in order to find out where all of this is going. And then the Swiss Alps is our next location. And we have another character that we saw in previous issues of X-Force, specifically X-Force 13, I think, might have been the last time we saw him, if memory is serving me correctly. So there's a team of doctors here around this 4-poster bed for Nicodemus, one of the externals, and he's got a bad cough, and basically he dies and explodes. His body gets hot and he explodes from the heat. And this takes Gideon by surprise, complete surprise. How? What happened to you? So that's another mystery. And of course, this is in the wake of Strife's legacy virus being unleashed on the world. But this proves that externals can die. They're not actually immortal. And now we're back to Graymalkin. And it's the same day, but it's after 8 p.m. in the evening. But what time zone? And S.H.I.E.L.D. is approaching. So S.H.I.E.L.D. has their own space shuttle. And how are they going to dock with Graymalkin is the answer. Well, they don't. So they exit the shuttle and they do a little spacewalk here. And they're using S.H.I.E.L.D. tech to crack the lock on the portal to Graymalkin. And somehow or other, GW Bridge gets access. He's in the system, 10 minutes top. Give it to me in 5. In 10, anyone inside this rust bucket could have sized and fitted, could have us sized and fitted for coffins. So really nice work on these pages. This is a great image here. Another great anchor image here as well. Love the detail on the shuttle by Capullo. He's really nailing that in the artwork. This is really good stuff. Inside Graymalkin, we get a little bit more about the mystery of the identity of Graymalkin itself and what's the connection with Chip. So Sam says, incredible. Naturally, my technology would seem miraculous to you. No, I've seen better, Chip. Says Sam, which, what would that be reference to? The Shi'ar maybe? Sam, its voice really is that of Chip. That's why I said incredible, Bobby. So Sunspot also recognizes the voice. But how could that be? As if I had a clue about any of this, says Sam. Sam, the computer's provided us a holographic display of the base. So a nice little color hole there as well. Chip, can you tell us what's on this rig? And Chip responds, I am afraid the reference ship is not categorized in my programming. I'm logged in as professor. So here's what Sam says in response to that. You were a spacecraft built by the Celestials, stolen by a mutant named Apocalypse, then used by good guys called X-Factor. You blew yourself up when Apocalypse tried to corrupt and control your systems with an internal virus. Graymalkin, the professor, responds, again, relevant information is insufficient. When did your programming first go online? Asked Sam. Core memory activation logged in November 17th, the year 3761 AD. So this takes Sunspot and Sam by complete surprise. And we get a nice, accurate reference for once from Bob Harris to X Factor issue 65 to 68 there. The Chris Claremont scripted and Wills Portacio drawn issues that culminated with baby Nathan Christopher being sent into the fourth millennium for repair to his body, the hoped repair to his body from the techno-organic virus. So this is a really nice shot as well. I really like the top-down angle here. Shatterstar with his leg up and his arm resting on his knee there as well. That's really nice stuff. Really, really well done. And the color hold here too for the holographic display. So Shatterstar says, and again, this is part of Nicieza really developing his characterization beyond the Liefeld version. Guthrie, we've discovered the equipment storage terminals, weaponry there, surface and aerial vehicles. Here he points with a sword. Let's go check it out, Sam has said, but he's interrupted by a hull breach. So of course that's S.H.I.E.L.D. outside. They've gotten in. Nice use of a screen tone there. I really like the magenta here in the background. You know, presumably as the lights go to a red alert in Graymalkin. This is a great image here of Feral hissing like a ferocious cat. Really, really well done. And then the professor starts giving them information. Intruder alert. The particular section and level. Sam asks him, first ship, do you have any internal security measures? Affirmative. Good. ISM capabilities offline due to the electromagnetic surge. Not good. Ship. And then, so this is interesting. So the professor stops insisting that his designation is professor and instead responds when Sam calls it ship. But then Sam corrects himself when he's continuing to call it ship and calls it professor. How about some imaging on the intruders? So now we see that engaging perimeter imaging procedure. We see the coming intruders, and just by virtue of his distinctive left eye patch, Cannonball recognizes it's Nick Fury. It's S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury's leading them in. So he realizes that's going to be a problem. This is a great anchor image of him here blasting. We can't let them get their hands on Cable's stuff. It's all we got left of him. All he left us. So no matter who it is going for it, it's ours. So loyalty to Cable continues beyond his death as they believe him to be dead at the end of Executioner's song. So here we have everybody bounding into action, including Lila Cheney there, though I don't know what she's going to do. And let's turn the pages, get past the ads, and we're going to have a little bit of a battle here between S.H.I.E.L.D. and X-Force. One of the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents is a psychic, and so Fury asks her, he calls out to her, Nina, and she says, nothing, Nicholas, I can't telepathically scan anyone, not even us. Whatever kind of electromagnetic burst decloaked this station is also screening my telepathy. I'm as good as useless here. And one of the other agents says, never say that, Nina. All S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are worth far more than their one outstanding attribute or ability. And Bridge here says, would think you'd be living proof of that, Pierce. I appreciate that, Commander Bridge. He responds, eyes peeled. Columbus team says, Fury, with Nina down, we have no EDS on our side, and this flipping spaceship is a sitting ambush site. I'm not sure what that means. EDS? I can't think of what it might mean in the moment, but maybe something to do with scanning. Anyway, certainly to do with surveillance. No kidding. So, caught from behind by X-Force. Who would have sent that blast? Probably Sunspot. Yeah, I'd say it's Sunspot because of the Kirby crackle there. So, Cannonball again giving good orders in the field. Starr and Ferrell in first, he says. Close up scramble, break their formation. Rick, Berto on pick-off duty once they scatter. That's really good stuff from Nicieza. He really is riding Cannonball here as an excellent commander in the field. And he's going up against Nick Fury, who's a war hero legend, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, is this a fair fight or not? Of course, X-Force have their powers, and they're much more ferocious than the X-Men in their use of them. So, great 1-2 here from our upshot on X-Force, arriving in behind S.H.I.E.L.D., and then we get them slamming into them. Ferrell here going for Nina in particular. Nice detecting. Oh, wait a second. GW Bridge says, then this is Cable's base. He is still alive. And Ferrell responds, nice detecting there, Columbo. How'd you put 2 and 2 together to get 13? That's good. That's funny. So the fighting continues. We see Shatterstar kicking Nick Fury underneath his space helmet. That's pretty cool. He's taking on 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. agents at once. But let's see. This looks like Bridge here is using a blaster that's mounted on his forearm. and he's taking out Shatterstar there. And he says to Shatterstar, worry about this, you lipstick pretty boy. And he's grabbed by Richter. No need to get personal, is there, GW? So Richter uses his powers against GW, knocks him off balance. Feral looks like she's really going to town on Nina there. Looks like there's some blood spatter as well. Sunspot is making progress against one of the agents. Isn't Nick Fury? What do we have left, Sam? And no, it's only Fury who's still standing, says Cannonball. And Shatterstar is volunteering to basically kill Nick Fury. Shall I? And Cannonball says, no, anyone but you, Star. He is only shooting on stun, you realise. So Fury's on his own. Last man standing. He's using that forearm mounted blaster and this big gun in his right hand too. Columbus 1 to Sternberg. B&E unit. So B&E, I think, is breaking and entering unit co-opted. Situation is terminal, he says. Activate secondary procedure, Niner. So he's commanding or giving the call for backup, whatever the backup plan was, and we'll see what it is on the last page. But just as he's about to give the full code, Cannonball knocks him out with a double punch here. So that's all of them, right? Asks Feral, any injuries? No, who would have been saying that? No, it's Cannonball. That's all of them, right? Any injuries need tending? And Richter says, we're fine, Sam. Actually, I meant on their part, says Cannonball. We better get out of here before every Tom, Dick and Harry with a shield, ID, a gun and an attitude shows up to bust our humps. I'd say it's a little too late for that kid, says somebody from behind with a speech balloon tail that indicates that whoever it is wearing a suit. So is it a second shield team? Let's turn the page and we'll see who it is. And it was set up earlier. Someone with a personal interest in Graymalkin. Turn the page. Turn that page sideways. It's War Machine. So it's Rhodey in the War Machine suit. Let me introduce myself, he says. My name's Tom, Dick and Harry. These are my guns. Would you care to see the attitude? So Iron Man versus X-Force. Very, 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 very cool indeed. Cool 90s comics. Great characterization from Fabian Nicieza. Great banter, great dialogue, good stuff. Letters page here regarding issues. Which issues? A nice tribute there to Greg Capullo's style. Lots of praise for Capullo in the letters. They're talking about Executioner's Song there. Also X-Force 16, so Executioner's Song exactly. And here we've got the statement of ownership, so we're going to get the numbers here in terms of how well the title is selling. So, well, you know, like the print run here, average number of copies of single issue nearest to final filing date, 720,500 was the print run on X-Force in 92 to 93. So those are tremendous numbers compared to what comics sell in 2024. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on X-Force number 20. I think this is a pretty enjoyable comic. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comment section to the video. If you enjoyed my review, please like the video on YouTube. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.